friends, this is the model of optimal transportation system. In this model, we have four factories F1, F2, F3 and F4. And we have three warehouses W1, W2 and W3. Warehouses are the places where raw materials are stored or finished goods are stored. Now we have to transport material from these three warehouses to the four factories in such a way that the total cost of transportation is minimum. We will solve this problem by least cost method. This transportation problem can be solved only when the total supply is equal to the total demand. Suppose the supply of warehouse W1 is 7 tons, of warehouse W2 is 9 tons, of warehouse W3 is 18 tons, and the demand of factory F1 is 5 tons, factory F2 is 8 tons, factory F3 is 7 tons, and factory F4 is 14 tons. So we calculate the total supply, it comes out to be 34, and we calculate the total demand, it also comes out to be 34. So now we can solve this problem. Now we will calculate the cost of transportation of 1 unit of material from warehouse W1 to F1, from warehouse W1 to F2, from W1 to F3 and from W1 to F4. Suppose the cost of transportation of 1 unit of material from W1 to F1 is rupees 19, W1 to F2 is rupees 30, W1 to F3 is rupees 50 and W1 to F4 is rupees 10. Similarly, we will calculate the cost of transportation of 1 unit of material from warehouse W2 to factory F1, F2, F3 and F4 and from warehouse W3 to factory F1, F2, F3 and F4. The costs that we obtain are written in the form of 3 by 4 matrix. Now we will solve this transportation problem by least cost method. In this 3 by 4 matrix, we search for the lowest cost, which is rupees 8. Corresponding to 8, we look at the demand and the supply. Demand is 8 tons, whereas the supply is 18 tons. So minimum of 8 and 18 is 8. So that is why we allot 8 units over here. When 8 units are allotted over here, this becomes 0 and over here 10 units are left. Since the demand of F2 is now 0, so we cancel this cost. Now the next minimum cost is rupees 10. Corresponding to 10, the supply is 7 and demand is 14. So minimum of 7 and 14 is 7. So we allot 7 units over here. So this becomes 0 and over here 7 is left. Since the supply of W1 is now 0, so we cancel this row. Now the next minimum cost is 20. Corresponding to 20, the demand is 7 whereas the supply is 10. Minimum of 7 and 10 is 7, so we allot 7 over here. So this becomes 0 and here 3 units are left. Since the demand of F4 is now 0, it is fulfilled. So we cancel this column of F4. Now the next minimum cost is 40 and 40. Both of them are equal. So let us decide which one to choose. In this 40, the demand is 5 whereas the supply is 3. So minimum of 5 and 3 is 3. Whereas for this 40, the demand is 7 and supply is 9. So minimum of 7. So we will take this entry because we want to allot maximum units to minimum cost. So now minimum of 7 and 9 is 7. So we allot 7 over here. This becomes 0 and here 2 units are left. Since the demand of F3 is now 0, so we cancel this column. Now the next minimum cost is 40 and the corresponding demand is 5 and supply is 3. So minimum of 3 and 5 is 3. So we allot 3 units over here. So 2 units are left and here this becomes 0. Now since the supply of warehouse W3 becomes 0, so we cancel this row. Now only one entry is left, which is 70. The demand is also 2 units and supply is also 2 units. So we allot 2 units over here and our transportation problem is solved, since this also becomes 0 and this also becomes 0. Now we will calculate the transportation cost, which would be 70 into 2 plus 40 into 3 plus 8 into 8 plus 40 into 7 plus 10 into 7 plus 20 into 7. So we calculate this transportation cost and it comes out to be rupees 814, which would be the minimum transportation cost.